Welcome to another segment of Life After Slavery, Life After Prison. Right now, I'm doing an interview with a guy that did, 17 years? 17 years in the Department of Correction. So I'm going to interview him and we're going to hear his story, life after slavery. Okay, Larry.
Man, I really.
So, Larry, how many years did you do in the Department of Correction?
Multiple Department of Corrections, about 7.5. I did the other 10 in the United States prison facility.
What was some of the charges that you went to prison for?
Gangs and running drugs.
They got to see you, Larry. They got to
Okay,
see
you pointed me because you caught me in a bad moment. First of all, I apologize for looking this way. I hadn't had a chance to shave, and I'm just dressed, taking out the trash, and the homie caught me. My name is Larry Lico Beverly. I'm known as LB from neighborhood Westside Road of 20 Blood Gangs. I'm also known as Big Horny from 84 Swans. I've traveled the United States selling drugs. I'm reputable.
So Larry, tell us a story about what happened the first time that you entered the Department of Correction. What are some of the things that the guards take you through?
Oh man, we're talking about jail, county facility,
I'm talking about
transition in
prison. I'm talking about transitioning in
my
prison.
first stint in the United States prison facility was Chino, back when he was just. I was there before they ever put gates on the tiers. I was on the top floor, which is notorious for motherfuckers dying because we had the highest murder rate. I was on Sycamore on the 5th tier. There's 4 or 5 tiers, yeah.
Have you ever seen the guards murder somebody or beat somebody? You ever seen it?
Man, let me tell you something. First of all, the very few times, man, the guards, in my day, and very few times, man, the guards get away with murdering any of us without their lives being taken in the first place. Most guards at that time, not so much now, but because I had to visit through the shit, it was some bullshit. I was both in the last transition where I watched the LAPD beat down a whole lot of folks. I'm very grateful, man, that it was me and Hoover D that were the G's that was there. It was like 300, 400 people there, man. And the shit that went down was real, man. These motherfuckers had us walking through these motherfuckers. Hold on, let me stop right here. First of all,
Express yourself the way you express yourself.
Let me explain myself. I'm a man. I respect the law. I grew up in the days that Bloods and Crips were hailed as notorious. It was nothing like that. But we'll talk about that another time. When I experienced it then, right there was motherfuckers getting their ass whooped, man. That shit wasn't cool. And I was in change, man. And me and Hoover D was standing up against the wall. And all I was doing, I bowed my hand and said, God, please don't let none of these motherfuckers put their hands on me, man, because you know how this is on you. You know what I'm saying? I respect the law and I respect each man. I expect every man to be as I am. So don't think that I'm saying that any police officer or correction officer is a punk motherfucker. But understand, I'm a man. And my prayer was simply this, Lord, you know, if these motherfuckers put their hands on me, man, I'm going to die. But I'm going to take a few of these motherfuckers with me, and I just held my peace. I did not like what I saw.
So you was in everybody was in shackles and chains.
Mm-hmm.
When these
like a motherfucker about to go to the cornfield. That's how it was. That's how you get off the bus, man, when you're going into the county, going through the process. That's just how it is.
So once you off the bus, I know they take the chains off you. What is some of the other humiliating
They don't
shit?
take the chains off you. You don't get chains, man. Them chains don't come off for you until you actually go into the shower. You stay shackled up, motherfucker, before. This how it go. Let me show you, man. Watch this. Watch this. All right, we get off the bus. This is us. Ankles and this like this. This shit was on this shirt. Y'all know how it is. All right.
Like an animal. Like you're an animal or something.
All right. However you detail it, I'm gonna be specific. It was just the normal how the motherfuckers process you. Anyway, when we got off, man, you know, if you ever been to the county, everybody, that means Long Beach, everybody, man, from everywhere, we come right there. So we're from various sections of the areas of the county of Los Angeles. Anyway, when you get out, man, you go through this motherfucking line. You know how the little kids got the little line they're walking through first when they go through elementary and shit.
The transition to
you have to wait for a while, man. Peanut butter, motherfuckers been there swapping peanut butter and bologna sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? You know the business. Anyway, you're in a parking lot though. You're in a parking lot with a motherfucking thing over your motherfucking head, man. It's about 300 of you. And all you want to get through this motherfucking process quick than a motherfucker. Because most of you is either waiting to go to bed, man, or waiting to lay the fuck down because it's been a long ass ride. The motherfuckers just get down and just like, you're looking at 2 or 3 days just to process. You know the business. This time, it was like, okay, motherfuckers was getting their ass whooped. I'm glad they don't do this shit anymore. Last time I went through that motherfucker, the motherfucker was like a t-shirt. It was like, excuse me, Mr. Beverly, sirs, are you, or is everything okay? I was like, God damn. And then we didn't have them change on this shit either, man. And they was like, we just processing you going down the line. I was like, what the fuck? But that was behind that motherfucking fed that was in there anyway. The normal thing is, man, when you finally get through the door, they'll uncuff your chains, man, right around the time that you gotta go through this long ass motherfucking line, man, just to get another lunch bag. You probably gonna get a wash rag, and little condiments and a big towel and shit. You're gonna go through this process. You're gonna get sprayed and shit, hit with the water, man. Then they're gonna shoot you to the showers. What they're deciding right now is, A, where you going, where you from. I don't even know if they do this shit now, because it's a whole different type of mentality. I did not like what I saw. And man, it was coming through. Motherfuckers, kids getting. Anyway.
No, tell the story.
And the last time that I was in there, man, let me tell you something. Bloods and Crips and gangsters. The shit that I saw here lately, I don't even fuck with motherfuckers like that. You know, these motherfuckers is back there. Motherfuckers, man, police call them all kind of punk motherfuckers. You want cookie and shit. They wasn't being disrespectful, but it was disrespectful. And I didn't like the way. Man, I'm not judging, but this new culture, man. God, how can I say this, man? Anytime that an officer in my day called you a punk motherfucker, now look, you was Bloods, Crips, and Chicanos. That was an open call out, nigga, because you wasn't finna go back on that mother, and you wasn't finna go back behind them bars with any of them men that sat up there and heard an officer say some shit like that to you. Because it was going to be like 2 or 3 of them that was going to automatically stand over there in a certain position when you walk through that door. Because them was the ones that was going to back you up and fuck where you was from. You was going to deal with this shit.
Was there any repercussions if you retaliate on an officer?
Nigga, we was finna bang right then and there. It was, man, you don't, this is not, what we're speaking about now is not what it was like then. The way police officers and Bloods and Crips and Chicanos got along was we were men. You know what I'm saying? The testing ground was on the floor. You know, we was cool, trying to get to where we wanted and going to the prison. And you always had the police that they had new recruits and other shit. It was just like another game and another game.
So what happens to individuals that don't have family that they can call or get money?
You better have a homie or somebody that's fucking with you. You know, because you get people like that, man. You get people that never banged or nothing like that, and nobody fuck with them like that, man. When they came in, it was like, "What's up, man? Oh, man, my mom." We was like, "Okay, you're not one of us. What you need, bro?" And everybody always back in the day when you came in, first you had to give 10% of whatever the fuck it was you had on the floor, because it was gonna be a brother that wasn't one of us, a black or a white or a Mexican. You know what I'm saying? He was gonna need some shit. So everybody always came to the door. You always had to give whatever cash you had, or if you didn't have cash, when you got some shit, you was gonna have to give like half of that one, because it was collective. Somebody like this might be coming through the door. Now back then we knew we had to know bondsmen and lawyers and whatever. So if somebody came through, we know what's going on with you and all this shit. We checked his record, was he all right and whatever, and then we went through the process. And then whatever we had, we gave to that person so he can get in touch with his family. You know, because people like that came through, yeah.
Because
I was on the day room floor when you had your cells.
In the Department of Correction, if you don't have anything, you're basically starved to death.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, to this day. If your ass ain't got no money, nigga, you don't eat. You are relying upon your hustle from the gate. A lot of motherfuckers that come through there now are just, hey, look, I'm a recovering addict myself. But a lot of motherfuckers is just really strung out on drugs, man. They get that motherfucker and they try to do push-ups and look professional and all them G'd up and shit. I be like, man, oh yeah, big little homie, weird. Oh, hold on, blood. I go lay down where I want to lay down, shit where I want to shit, and wherever I gotta holler at, nigga, I'm gonna holler at, all right? Sit your ass down, man.
Let's talk about the fights. Tell us a story about maybe where you had to handle yourself.
Shit. The first time I went to jail, I was not in California. California jails, man, trust me. When you be in places like Tennessee, Texas, backwoods, Mississippi, when you in motherfuckers like Kansas and Arkansas, y'all think we, nigga, when you go in them jails, man, it's like meeting, it's like being in the 40s, nigga. Cause they don't put you in a county where it's nicely and air conditioned. Your first process, nigga, you go to jail with bars that go slime, boom. And if you ain't got shit, if you were young, you know, it's always the first motherfucker that approach you, man. As soon as he open his mouth, if it's anything non-productive, that's the one you hit in the mouth first. Because you need nobody, you trying to punk somebody, get something about you. It is what it is. When I did my first spot, I was in the jail, I was 19, and I hadn't heard from my mom and shit, and it was about 6 weeks they was trying to break me, and motherfucker was like, kid for his mom, my mom told me this. My mom was named Linda K. She brought the East Side, one of the original lowriders and shit off of Normie. She said, look here, baby, listen to me real quick. You love your mama? Mm-hmm. You a man. And I know I raised my. I said, mm-hmm. She said, listen, first of all, don't you ever cry again. And you make sure when you get off this phone, I'm telling you this because listen, don't you ever cry in jail again. Whatever you feel, I miss you too. But listen, don't you ever cry in jail again. When I get off this phone, son, I know you're going to feel hurt and all this kind of shit because I'm going to make this real brief. I'm not going to coddle you. You're a big football player. I know you've been out here in these streets. When you get off this phone, the first motherfucker to open his mouth, this baritone is a little too deep, or the motherfucking voice is a little too high, you hit him right in the mouth. And every time you come across another motherfucker, it's just like that, you hit him right in the mouth. I know you can do it. I want you to go read your Bible and pray. That's pretty much what I did the first 6 months in there, man, because I was in there, man, with rapists and all kind of shit, man. You know, when I grew up, man, as a blood and a Crip, we were just local in Los Angeles. When we went to other places, man, you got a stint of what prison was really like, man, before we even got around. Bloods and Crips kind of changed a lot of shit. When you went in, man, they were really bad men. And let me explain about bad men. Bloods and Crips are a unified, organized group of men who have a format. At least back then we did. So when you went in, man, it was motherfuckers, being in jail for rape, murder. That's before drugs ever, hit the streets really tough. And they like to, rape young motherfuckers, all kind of shit. Shit. Bah! Nigga. It's going down, nigga. It's going down. Yeah.
So, do you suffer any mental illness from the Department of Correction? Let's be real. Or are you the same person you is now before you went in?
Let me put it this way, man. Science did this shit, man. Science put together this thing, man, that explained that anything above the bar of 5 years with a lab rat in a contained environment will pretty much lose its mind. There's two types of lab rats that go through this. You have the one that just shit never fails, that will withdraw from most of the mice that are in the tank and go into the little corner. And he will be there until he dies. It isn't that he's afraid, this isn't going on. Normally, he just at some point in time stop wanting to eat and stop wanting to drink, and he just sits there and dies. He ain't trying to get no company and shit. The others conform. And there's certain mice that they'll eat first. They'll fight if a motherfucker got too hungry, nigga wait in line. But everybody conformed and they made it, but they found that the rats weren't right.
Well, they say people in prison, when they come out, they suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome.
I'm gonna tell you, look, for myself, okay, we'll buy that, but when I come up in the streets of violence, that shit was helicopters and yang, it was choppers and AK-47. That shit was like cutting on TV after 9 o'clock. Sometimes, whenever, the day thing changed, at around 7, whenever it got dark, man, you always heard the chopper. It was normal to see it go around by the house and yeah, look 'em, yeah, look 'em. That was
So,
normal.
have you ever been in confinement? This thing they call a box.
You talking about the hole?
The hole, confinement.
Yeah, well, these people that got the hole now, that shit ain't even a hole. Actually, that shit look like a dog kennel. You ever see, man, when they be going to kill them dogs, man, they put them in their kennel right there and put them motherfucker in isolation? Man, they have you now where you're sitting that motherfucker for 23 hours and let you out 1 hour. Anytime that you can, let me tell you something about this shit, man.
Have you ever talked to the walls?
Listen, let me tell you something. Any motherfucker that can get approved a conditioning where you put the motherfucker in the kennel for 23 hours and this motherfucker ain't murdered nobody, ain't raped nobody, ain't molested a child, man, that means that the system has begun to approve of treating a person as less than a human being. The problem is with our culture is the shit has become so accepted that a motherfucker doesn't see the lie in the first place. Nigga, you don't get put in a motherfucking kennel for 23 motherfucking hours. You really ain't even committed no motherfucking crime. You got caught with a pistol. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting charged with being a blood or a crip. You was selling some dope or some other bullshit. Now, you might have been a dummy and done some dumb shit, but most people, nah.
Well, let's go back to the time that you was in confinement.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us the story about your confinement. Because me, myself, I've been in confinement. I've been in confinement so long where I began to talk to the walls.
How long have you been in confinement for?
I've been in confinement. I did 8 months in confinement.
Shit. My first bid, man, my first damn near 3 years was in the hole, man. But I chose that shit, man, because sometimes prison is so noisy that you want to read a book and shit and chill, man. But because the way they got it where you can go back to your cell now, there's a lot of bullshit going on, man. So you bust a motherfucker in the mouth and shit. And then they send you to a hole. Then right before you come out, most motherfuckers know. Sometimes the police is just saying, nah, he ain't ready because you ain't even come out with your blanket and your motherfucking mat rolled up. Only thing, man, you came out because you was going to look for the first motherfucker that popped out and you bust him in the mouth again. You do it real, real hard, draw blood, but it wasn't nothing personal. I ain't ready to go yet, man. It's too much noise outside. So, yeah, my first 3 years, man, I read a lot. I found the whole peaceful.
Well, I didn't find confinement too peaceful.
We used to play chess. We used to play chess through the vents. You ever do that?
Yeah, I played chess through the vents.
If prison motherfuckers, chess motherfucking players, we make a board, something out of paper, and draw the squares and do the numbers, and then we yell through the vent who wants some. And the vent travels all the way down, so it might be 18, 6 units, whatever. And somebody tell you who they are, they want some. It's amazing, man, because there are times, man, when 12 motherfuckers is going on, and it's a musical harmony, and we're all like A4 to A5, and another motherfucker playing it. It was cool.
Let's go even deeper. Let's talk about EOS. You know what EOS is? Right?
What's that?
EOS is when you about to get out of prison.
Okay. Process.
Have you been in a situation where you had no place to go, no family when you get out, and just the $200 they give you? Well, if I know Florida give you $50.
I ain't never seen a motherfucker give me $200 at the gate ever. And I used to tell two things I hated, man. Motherfucking process. You motherfuckers, especially motherfuckers in Folsom, and release. Because if you got any gold or any money getting in the process, man, they send a fucking box with a yellow gold and whatever other things that you had. The motherfucker be robbing you. Then you expecting going out of EOS, you still have your rope or some money and shit. Nah, them motherfuckers took that shit.
Just they take your money.
Yeah, the motherfucker was taking
It's
money.
seeing you out in the world after doing 5 years, 10 years, even a year with nothing.
I didn't go to no motherfucking halfway house, man. Motherfuckers always said I was too violent. That wasn't the case, man. That wasn't the case.
We talking about life after slavery.
I know
In
what the
prison,
fuck's on.
in prison, you are a slave. Ain't no ifs, buts, and ends about it. Ain't no way around it. You are a slave. I'm quite sure you worked in prison and ain't made a dime.
Man, when I was in juvie, man, we was on the chain gang. I was the ones that would chop down the motherfucking trees and all those
In chains and shackles.
Then what? We didn't have no chains on us then. We didn't have no chains on us then.
But
we
you
just
had-
stood in line and we all chopped going off the highway like 15 feet to 20 feet.
So what happens if you refuse to do it?
I'll throw you in the hole.
They throw you in a hole.
And then you can't get if you got like hundreds of dollars on your books, if you got you're only allowed to spend so much money. You're only allowed so many phone calls. But if you don't go to work, oh man, you don't get that. So whatever, if your commissary day come up, they may give you a ticket for like $10, and that's all you can spend because you don't want to go work.
So to me, that sounds like slavery.
Oh, the whole motherfucking prison industry was a slave force magnet. Let me say something real quick. In 1988, man, when they passed the war on drugs and some bullshit, two things took place. The government put all that shit in our communities, and the motherfuckers that was running apartheid, Ma Bell and other motherfuckers like Pacific had got this package, man, this business plan. They wanted to create cheap labor that they could sell to the government and make bread. So they came up with this shit called the war on drugs, and they came up with a thing called the prison industry. The reason why they called it the prison industry is because once you got in there, the first thing you was doing was your blanket, your rules, and a job. You was gonna go somewhere, make something, or fix some machine that produced a material that somebody wanted to purchase. Wherever, they didn't give a fuck, but it had to be in a collective. And most of them they sold, it was just basically they made prison soap. And then you got me making my own shit. Well, yeah, they sold it back to the government for a grip of money. Basically, they sold their shit to the government for $1, where the work labor force was for a dime. And
So do you think
it was slavery.
if a person get caught with 2 pieces of crack, do they deserve 10 years? Do
Man,
they
all that
deserve-
shit was some bullshit. Every ounce, every pound, every key of dope normally came from the United States government. They strategically dumped that shit in the hood. Then they come up with a prison industry that the sentencing guidelines is some shit that they got from the lottery when we was running numbers. Black folks ran the numbers, man, and these motherfuckers couldn't arrest us. So they made up some shit called the sentencing guidelines and told people they couldn't play the lottery. Then they came into the motherfucking community and sold that shit, man. And all they did was they dropped cocaine in LA and various other locations.
Not only LA, Florida,
Yeah,
Georgia,
very
all
other
over the United States,
Yeah.
in our hood.
Then they come up with a motherfucking law that said you had to do 5, 10, or 15, or 20 or life years, and you could have like a key of powder and be on probation. This is your first time, but you can have a handful of crack and you get life. This shit was a swindle from the jump.
Well, you know, they made that law because the white boys usually dealt in powder. Crack didn't get really serious with them until it started affecting their neighborhoods.
Man, let me put it to you like this. There's no such thing as motherfucking crack cocaine. It's only cocaine. You just dip the motherfucking water, heat it up, and it come back. That's all. If you don't even add no baking soda, that motherfucker come back a brick. It's hard to get the motherfucker out the pot. Trust me, I made that mistake and lost thousands. Anybody in prison right now behind selling drugs is a lie. It's enslavement. You don't even need to be there. At most, the crime for selling dope is that, man, it sabotages people like motherfuckers sell you wine when they know you drunk. Secondly, you brought up 90.9% of all the dope came from you. So motherfucker, basically you sold me some bullshit, a few gazy. Then you justify put me in jail for multiple years that did not make any sense because I was sold drugs. Yeah, that's some bullshit, and you put the drugs in there.
Do you think it's still people in prison right now for weed? which is legal in the state of California now and various other states.
I'm unfamiliar with how many people are in jail for weed, but I'm sure it depends on where you are and your location. However, I do know, man, that the war on drugs and doing a whole lot of time, man, had nothing more to do with because I was black. I know you're like, nah, man. First of all, the only people that be promoting racism is the wealthy that want to keep us separated and pride.
So, I got two questions before I end this interview.
Okay.
Do you think that your mental state comes from the Department of Corrections?
Insane. I'm absolutely insane. I'm schizophrenic. That means I suffer from delusions. I believe in the things that I see that normal people don't see.
Do you think it came from the Department of Corrections? Being in jail so many times, doing a long term, suffering the...
You can never say something, man. Statistically, they said the limited number for anyone to be confined is 3 to 5 years. Anything else, it deprives the mind of certain necessaries. And do you know that anybody that does over 5 years in prison, statistically, 85%, having never used or got drunk ever in their life, become addicts? There's something to that, man.
One more question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been a slave for the United States of America?
Yes. You know how I know? Everybody that worked for the government, everybody that went to prison, in a USP prison, when you write your name, it's in capital letters. Why would I write my name in capital letters? Basically, they made a bond out of you, like a motherfucker investing you. You mean to tell me, man, I just entered prison and you just told the world I was a horrible person? How the fuck do you get to make a fucking bond that other people can invest in? Yeah, we was mules and we was slaves. Thank you. I'm done.
Well, that was another episode of Life After Slavery. Mr. Laird, it was one of my first interviews for this documentary. Y'all stay tuned. There's more to come after that. We're going to change things.